Next, so we got shear, notch, taper, and again, it's worth noting that kind of like learning two different more vocabulary in general terms. One thing is the action, which such as shear, notch, taper, and then other one is the commands, right? So they're really, I'm not sure actually, but oh, it seems there is a shear command, but actually I've never tried that before. But is there a notch? All right, not notch. So it's not that these titles right here, they're not the command themselves, but they're more the results that we achieve, the formal results that we achieve. And how we get there is through a series of commands that sometimes they might be the same in Rhino, sometimes it may not. So anyway, let's go ahead and copy two more of this base volumes right here, quarter and the 16th. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the grid snap on, and I'm gonna create another copy right here. Copy. Well, let's go ahead and move this guy first. One over. We'll create a copy of this one over here. And next is pinch. And as you see in these two examples right here, pinch is sort of if you look at your thumb and your index finger and you kind of put them close together, kind of like if you were gonna pinch someone, you can then imagine, right? Kind of like if you were gonna grab something with your thumb and your index, right? You're kind of pinching. And in this case, for example, in this form right here in the middle, it's pinching only two sides, and the one on the left, it's pinching in all four sides. Let's see how we can achieve that. So one way to achieve that, just like we've been doing in other actions, is to use the split face command. So we're gonna start right here. I'm just gonna go to what for me is my front face, press enter, snap to that midpoint, enter, and I'm gonna repeat that 4 times. I'm going all around. So I have split 4 faces all around. I'll select the object, turn off the isocurve so that you guys can see that there's still one single object, but with this faces split. Now, if you hold Control Shift and you click and select, Control Shift, Control Shift, select, all of those edges, and in the gumball, hold Shift. Whoops, one thing though before we do that, I'm sorry again. Let's go ahead and make sure that grid snap is off. All right, and then one more time, select those edges. All right, there you go. That one, that one, that one. 4, hold Shift. There you go. There you can. Right, pinch. Notice that all around it, it has that angle. Okay. Next, you can repeat that same action. Split face, select the object. Whoops, that's not the right face. This face right here. In this case, now we're gonna do only 2, and they're gonna be the opposite faces. All right. Can select it, turn off my isocurves. Make sure the grid snap is off. Control Shift select. Can bring this one in. And if I wanted to be more precise, right, Control Shift select the edge, click once on the green arrow, and type 0.25. All right. And then if I go to the other end, hold Control Shift, select, click on the green arrow, but rather than doing 0.25, we're gonna do a minus 0.25. That should work. And we have now pinched that object, base volume, both ends, the same distance. Rather than just eyeing it, we went ahead and defined the distance of the pinch, which is actually this from here to here, right? Which was 0.25 of an inch, right? AKA quarter of an inch. Okay. And we can be a little bit more fluid and organic with this. So for example, I can again split face, select that face. In this case, I'm using my near selection tool and my perpendicular, split that face right there. I can Control Shift select it, move it up. I can do that right there. And I can maybe do something similar. Split face on the top face. In this case, I'm I'm not using the grid snap. I'm just going off of the my drafting tool aids right here on the bottom, the center, the intersection, perpendicular, and things like that. If I do Control Shift select, blue arrow, I can bring that down like that. Control Shift select, maybe be a little bit more drastic, more dramatic. I can do something like that. Okay, save. Now inscribe and carve. Now here in this case, we're going to copy our 1/16 volume. And this is where hopefully things start taking a different shape. Move this right here, maybe. Okay, and then inscribe. What do I mean by inscribe? So as you'll see right here, as the example on my screen, we're taking an object, we're inscribing it within another object, another solid, and we're deleting that input. You might be familiar with this command already, which is Boolean difference, and I can show you what we can do with that command. All right, and inscribe, and what I mean by that. So let's go ahead and type copy. Select the 1/16 base volume. Let's go ahead and copy it from the midpoint. Let's go ahead and copy it to the midpoint of the 1-to-1 base volume. And we have that right there. And if we use Boolean difference, surfaces to subtract from, it's the large cube, enter, whoops, Boolean difference, polysurfaces to subtract from, select the large cube, select the polysurfaces to subtract from, we're done, enter, select the object that we want to inscribe, and then notice that it says delete input. Let's go ahead and make sure you click on it so that it says yes, enter, and that's what we get. Notice that again, it sort of lifts a print on the full volume of whatever you subtract with. Again, I can try that. Select type copy, select this volume right here. What happens if, as in the example that I have right here on my screen, we use that same base volume, but we rotate it in order for us to create that inscription. So I can select it, I can create some sort of an angle right here. Now, this might become handy at some point because I'm pretty sure if I try to do a Boolean difference, with the objects as they are right now, pretty sure the software is not gonna like it. Let's see, Boolean difference, select from this guy with this guy right here. Oh, it did like it. And that's another option. That's another inscription right there that could be helpful. And so for example, you can try Boolean difference, enter, select the object to subtract from. Then I'm gonna set the delete input to no so that it doesn't delete it, enter. Notice that, well, check this out. Wait, one more time. Boolean difference, select object to subtract from, enter, delete input no, select with this input right here. There you go. So now if I select this object right here and move it out like that or to here, I have that partial inscription or kind of like a carving as well as the last action that we'll take a look at. But what I wanted to show you is what if you actually did wanted to make it go all the way through, right? Like this from one end to another end. Another handy command in Rhino you may be familiar with already is the scale 1D, as in one direction, enter. Select the object, enter, from there to there. And I can just extend it as needed. Boolean difference, subtract from that guy, delete the input yes, with this one, enter, and I have those inscriptions. So notice that I can start carving away from that solid volume. So again, that's why we're working on subtractive operations in this case, kind of like chipping away at other objects to achieve some interesting forms. So for example, we can continue with that. All right, and if I type copy, let's go ahead and copy this guy from that midpoint to this midpoint, and I can type Boolean difference, subtract from this guy right here with this one right here, delete input yes. I have that right there. I can additionally bring copy, maybe this guy right here, there to there. I'm gonna select it and maybe just to move it a little bit over, turning off my grid snap. All right, so if we turn on our ghosted, you'll see that the object is in there, just can't see it. I'm gonna go back to shaded, Boolean difference, select the object, this object, and not very exciting, right? Because we cannot really see that there. Let's try a new one. Let's see, can we bring maybe this one right here, copy, right? Let's bring this one over here, fix my view, select it, again move it, slightly inwards, Boolean difference, select the object to subtract from, enter, select the object to subtract, and then delete input yes, and maybe a little bit more interesting. You have this object, the print, right? It's kind of like a ramp we can actually go through. What else can we do? We can maybe create, we can copy this from there to there, rotate it, 90 degrees. Go ahead and move it there to there. Okay, select it. Boolean difference. Oops. Boolean difference. That guy. Wait, that guy. And you start achieving some more of the intent of the assignment. We'll get there. And as a matter of fact, I mean, don't rush. But you can start seeing with this ghosted view what starts happening. How we can actually start achieving some very intricate and interesting formal forms. All right, so that's our inscribe. Sorry, inscribe. And lastly, the last one, shaded. I'm sorry, carve. It's very similar. And I kind of like combine them and in the inscribe. But if we go ahead and type copy, bring 2 other volumes here, and turn grid snap on, click there, click there. So inscribe, the way that I kind of like differentiate them is that it's on the surface, and I kind of like got carried away in the inscribe, and I kind of like combined the inscribe and the carving. But you see how in the scribe, the way that I mean, kind of like differentiate them is the object is along an edge, right? So it creates sort of like a groove or a dent, versus the carving, it goes all the way through, sort of like in the middle of the mass. What does that mean? Well, it can be like, well, we already did some, but if I bring this guy right here, copy, bring it right there, maybe I'll do an off center, and we can see the carve right here in the right. So we basically have like a hole. That's the carving action, and maybe we can even start there, right? So I can maybe copy this base volume again as well. So, and maybe even so that it gets a little more interesting, I'll go ahead and rotate it 90 degrees. Go ahead and position it sort of in the center. I've lost track of it, so let me see if I go to ghosted. Oh, it did a weird snap. Actually, that's not that bad, but I just don't want it to overlap. It's not overlapping, but I'm gonna actually move this. Let me get back to my, oops, shade it. To that mid. Then again, differentiating from description, carving, right? So rather than being on the one surface like it was right here, I'm gonna go ahead and move it down so that it's inside the mass of the cube, and we'll define our carving. Right? So let's say something like that. Right? So we can do our Boolean difference is the same command. Select object, select that object, enter, and we have carved, right? We kind of like carved through, right? And we can repeat Boolean difference. Like this object right here, carve with that one, and we can do that. So we have that carving. We can also copy. Bring this guy over here. Let's go ahead and flip it up 90. Oops, I want the opposite. So let's do a 180. Let's go ahead and move it right from there to there. Let's go ahead and place it somewhere off center, but fully integrated. Like that. And we can do a carve by doing a Boolean difference, subtracting from that object with this object right here, create some sort of a an opening on the top. And this is part of what we're going to explore with this project. Again, at first glance, it's kind of hard to really understand the complexity and the intricacy of some of these volumes. What do I mean by that? Well, we just see a square right here on the outside, but we really don't know what's going on because there's more going on than what we actually see. So if we, for example, go to our which one was it? Artistic? No. Technical. There we go. If we go to our technical view, you can see, especially for this ones right here, the inscribe and the carving, we can finally see what's really going on inside. But without that, and without doing some other conventional architectural drawings, section cuts, for example, cannot really understand it. So that's what's kind of neat about this exercise. Let's see, I could right, try one more. Right. So what happens if I copy this one to there? Go ahead and move it from that end to this end. Bring it down. Bring it down. All right, so they're gonna intersect right there. So let's do something. I can actually select that. And I can deform it. Maybe I can do that right there. And if we go to ghosted, they're not overlapping anymore. Again, for right now, that's what our assignment is going to be: overlapping and creating larger openings and getting it a little bit more exciting. But for right now, just rather understand the simple concepts: Boolean difference, select the object, enter, subtract with that one, enter, and we have carved those openings here. They run from one end to the other end. Okay. All right. So hopefully you've been able to follow along with me in this exercise. Come back to see the next part. Okay. Thank you.